So we proceed to some closing thoughts. The subject now is gambling, ever present it seems these days, but with us really since the dawn of time, and from the beginning connected to sports. As the story goes, Philistine bookmakers took a bath when heavy favorite Goliath went down in Valley of Elah Stadium circa 1000 BC. Don't bother to stream it. Footage not available. Still, until recently, with the exception of racetracks and Vegas, sports wagering has lurked in the shadows. So much so that for decades on Monday and Sunday nights, Al Michaels had to find clever ways to acknowledge that a seemingly meaningless late fourth quarter touchdown had in fact flipped the over-under. Meanwhile, major sports commissioners were testifying that legalized gambling would be the ruination of sports. Just one example. Here's Roger Goodell in March of 2017. We still strongly oppose legalized sports gambling. The integrity of our game is number one. We will not compromise on that. But then, a year later, in 2018, a Supreme Court ruling struck down a federal ban on sports gambling. And soon after, the sports powers that be did a 180. Here's Goodell in March of this year. We're going to find ways we can engage fans through legalized sports betting. The money, huge and ever-growing, was just too much for the leagues to ignore. And in fairness, now that it's legal, consider this. The leagues produce the product, a product sports betting operations glom onto with no investment of their own. And if legalized sports betting does in fact raise questions about influences on the integrity of the competition or the perception of that integrity, then leagues have to invest additionally to safeguard against those possibilities. Perhaps it's only natural and perhaps it's only capitalism that in light of all that, they'd want a piece of the action. And so now, barely 3 years after the Supreme Court decision, you can't go 5 minutes watching a game without not just being advised of the existence of betting options, but enthusiastically encouraged to embrace them. In fact, Wrigley Field will soon have a betting parlor on site. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and give me the line on the Diamondbacks. Look, just so you know, I grew up around gambling. My father was an inveterate big stakes gambler. There he is. Yeah, I know, the resemblance is striking. At our house, thousands rode on whether Whitey Ford could get Al Kaline out, or whether Wilt Chamberlain could, just this once, please, hit 2 free throws. As a result of this Norman Rockwell-like upbringing, by the time I was 10, I could tell you with near perfect accuracy what the line would be on the upcoming Steelers-Browns game, or how the odds moved when Koufax or Drysdale pitched for the Dodgers, as opposed to a lesser mortal. Pre-cable, pre-ESPN, pre-internet, my dad would send me up on the roof of our house on Long Island. Didn't matter if it was covered with snow and sleet, because my assignment was to twist the antenna around so we could pull in an Eagles game from Philly or a blacked-out Giants tilt from Hartford. In the summer, he'd flip me the keys and send me out to the car, where the radio could pick up faint reports from as far away as Cincinnati or St. Louis, after which I'd return to deliver the play-by-play news, good or bad. I'm not going to lie. At times, this could be traumatic. My mom and sister weren't thrilled by it, but to me, there was a certain Runyon-esque romance to it all. My dad didn't bet on a cold, impersonal app. He picked up the phone and let the mortgage money ride with guys named Blinky and Three Finger. No joke. To these wise guys, gambling was a business. They paid on time, and they were not amused when you didn't. On one occasion, after an improbably long winning streak, my dad took me with him as he met his bookie at a donut shop in Brooklyn. The guy was straight out of Central Casting. Shiny suit, pinky ring, snap brim hat. I wish that had been Blinky, but it wasn't. This guy's name was Al. That your boy? Nice boy. Give the kid a glass of milk and a donut. A touching act of largesse I still fondly recall. Soon enough, he slid an envelope across the counter. And then moments later, sitting in our 1965 Buick Skylark beneath a Brooklyn streetlight, my dad counted out 14 grand in $100 bills. It was only about 5,000 less than what our house had cost. After pocketing his winnings, he turned to me and said, "Come on, Bobby, let's go to Coney Island. We'll eat at Nathan's and ride the Cyclone." So you'll understand, if I think of all this as more colorful and in its own way more human, some dork in his dorm room on his iPhone, pissing away the tuition money his parents worked double jobs to save, with no intention that some of it would go towards a prop bet on how many third-quarter fumbles will be recovered by linebackers with second cousins named Simon. But hey, that's just me. It's up to you. Whether, like most, you wager for a little fun within your budget, or recklessly running the risk of being part of the inevitable collateral damage of lives ruined by gambling addiction, that's not my business, really. But it is my business not to mislead you. So just to be clear, even as the come-on ads and the cheerful tone of the all-in broadcasters make it seem like there's only upside here, even as leagues that once condemned legalized gambling now not only accept it but encourage it, know this: if, as a group and over time, gamblers didn't lose much more than they win, then no casino, racetrack, Nathan Detroit floating crap game, and now DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, PointsBet, et al. Would ever exist. The deck is always stacked in favor of the house. Just as in sports, the answer almost always is follow the money, even if consistent principle has to take a back seat to counting the cash.